Amnesia. Oh, sweet, sweet Amnesia. The franchise everyone loved until that happened.
Oh god, get it away from me!
Hey guys, it's your local daddy Smurf here, and today we're discussing another game, so stay tuned. Okay, let's start. Amnesia is a horror game released on September 8th, 2010. The reviews are extremely good, and it absolutely blew up after PewDiePie played it on his channel the same year. It had a successful run with the second game coming out in 2013, which is kind of a walking simulator, but the story is actually really good. And then we get to the topic of the video. Amnesia RebÖrth. Oh, where do I start? First of all, in my opinion, it's everything except Amnesia. You start with a cinematic on a plane with some guy and boom, you're in a desert in the middle of nowhere. Already a minus. You enter a goddamn cave, you continue to walk around, and the main character just
Doesn't shut the fuck up!
Also, not to mention the cinematics on every 5 steps. I mean, yeah, the short memory cinematics in the previous 2 games were literal flashbangs, but god damn, these ones were annoying as hell. Following up, we have the reviews, which are really bad. Well, mostly. Well then, let's get into the categories, lads. So, graphic-wise, it looks like a 2016 demo game. You would expect next-gen graphics, much like Resi 2 Remake, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new one. Hell, even God of War 4 from back in 2018. Though, let's be honest, it's not really their fault for that, because the budget was not that big for this game, so they had to do it all from scratch. Anyways, to the next category. Gameplay was nothing special in my opinion. As I said before, you get flashback cinematics and weird shit showing on your screen, preventing you from moving at all until the flashback is done. The main character just talks constantly and it gets annoying over time. She gets scared and panics in most unnoticeable things in the game. Then we have the light system, which is god-awful. Instead of tinderboxes like in The Dark Descent, you have matches. Yes, matches. So amazing. The matches light up fuck all and last hardly a couple of seconds. Oh, but where's the lantern from before? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's useless. The only thing that stayed the same was that you have to find oil in order for the lantern to work. Even when you find it, it uses all of it almost instantly. For using the lantern, I suggest you just quickly tap the button. Then we have the fear system. It also does fuck all, because apparently when Tassie is in a darkened area or if she sees scary things and corpses, she'll slowly gain fear. This mechanic is symbolized by black tendrils at the edge of your screen. The longer this persists, the more you'll experience literal slideshows of scary pictures. Finally, the game is not scary, although we still have more to discuss. Let's continue. The main story had me so confused because it had so much stuff happening that I couldn't even get an idea of what the actual story was. Throughout the whole game, Tassie just talks about random stuff and you mostly can't even figure out what she's talking about. There's this constant appearing of her baby that is mostly hallucinations, and again, it doesn't reveal much. Again, giving an example from The Dark Descent and Machine for Pigs. As you progress more and more into the story, you slowly reveal some memories that happened. Here, even if you do, and I'm pretty sure you don't, you can't really make out what happened. There also, we have some futuristic shit like portals, another fucking dimension, etc. At the end, you meet some kind of goddess, I guess, which apparently had your baby with her. And after that, I don't really know what happened. All in all, you can't understand the story unless you read the actual wiki page about it, or if you actually, for some odd reason, understand it by playing the actual game. Okay, I'm gonna leave out Machine for Pigs because it's actually similar to The Dark Descent. The Dark Descent had much more functioning sanity system than RebÖrth does. Why? Well, if you stay in the dark for too long or see a monster, your vision actually changes for the worst and makes you actually feel like you're slowly going insane. Whilst in the RebÖrth, it basically does nothing but making the edges of your screen black and flashing you with JPEGs that are supposed to make you shiver. Then the Dark Descent, despite it being just walking mostly, you actually had some puzzles to solve. Read the log to help you with them, and finally after a monster appears, you actually need to have a tactic of hiding and then bypassing. In RebÖrth, that's a whole new level of nonsense. Through the whole game you just walk, listen to the character being annoying, being forced to watch pointless flashbacks, and for fuck's sake man, if you die from a monster, the game skips the whole segment and spawns you in the next area that you should continue in. The one thing that is kind of positive is that it has puzzles to solve, which might actually take a while. Next, Dark Descent had a progressive storyline which actually gets deeper and deeper as you progress with the main campaign. It lets you in on the stuff that makes it scary and interesting. You find out things about the characters that appear in the game by getting notes that are scattered through the map of the game. RebÖrth doesn't make you actually understand the story progressively, but instead makes you question what happened after getting to the final scene and meeting the goddess. The Dark Descent had a light system that actually worked pretty well with the combination of using the lantern and lighting torches and candles around the map. You had to collect tinder boxes in order to light up the area, and by collecting gold you could fill the lantern and turn it on. They had no limit to how much you can collect them at a time. As for RebÖrth, it had a limit of 10 matches which are lit for about 10 seconds or so. Even though that is the point of a match, it's pretty useless nonetheless. After finding the lantern, after some time like in the Dark Descent, you had to find the oil in order to light it up, though the full oil in the lantern lasts around 30 seconds and goes out pretty darn fast. Then the atmosphere in the Dark Descent was much more vivid and eerie than RebÖrth. You were in an abandoned castle with the door sliding open left and right, you had monsters popping out of nowhere in the dark and chasing you, then disturbing rooms you may find with the creepy flashbacks reminding you what happened there. Whilst in RebÖrth you crash down in a desert, you go into a cave, then in an abandoned sort of town in broad daylight. Even if a monster appears, you don't get scared because it mostly chases you for a bit, vanishes, or perhaps kills you and the game decides to skip the segment. So, in my opinion, it's not the worst game I've played, but it certainly doesn't remind me of Amnesia, and of course it almost makes it look like it's not even the same franchise. Props to the studio and developers for doing it from scratch with an average budget, but it's not something I would play personally. If you guys find it interesting, you can play it yourself. So that's it for this video on another bad game that I played. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I actually wrote a longer script than usual for this one. A like would be appreciated and maybe a subscribe. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.